Okay, beautiful. So, Eric, welcome, welcome. I'm welcoming you into my little nook here in Arizona, into my side of where I'm resting and having my little library, my bookshelves on the back there. So, welcome. I wanted you to come to share your experience of working with me. We've been working for a little while together privately. You've also done the Three Freedoms Academy, 1 full year. So tell us first, what what was it that made you, like, how were you before working with me? What made you decide, gosh, I need to do something with this crazy woman?
Well, initially we came across you through looking for what was it, a hypnotherapist for my wife, and we
Uh-huh.
were referred to you, and so you started working with Amanda, and I'm all for, I mean, just in mine and Amanda's journey together. Like typically, if one does one thing, the other will follow suit, and
Yeah.
and I was just all in on pursuing any kind of help that I could get. And I was very interested. And you talked a lot about how you worked with people on the financial side. So Amanda was doing a lot of inner work, and I had a lot of things going on in my career at the time, and I saw it just felt right. So that's kind of where we started, was business oriented meetings, and up until probably about last November, I mean, I think that was our primary focus. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and it's turned out to be very well. Everything's turned out superbly. A lot
Yeah,
more.
give us a little tangible stuff, right?
Well, well, when we first met, I think it was
I
the
mean,
beginning.
if you can, because this is going to be seen by people. So,
Yeah.
so I
So
don't know what you want to share, but if you can share some, it's always good for people to get concrete results, you know?
got it. So we met at the beginning of 2020, if I remember correctly, and
Mm-hmm.
at the time we were, or no, it was I think the end of 2020. So we were in the middle of acquiring a company at my work that I had worked with for about 10 years. And they had a big client, UPS, and they were in the middle of this massive project that was producing a lot of revenue. And just as we started to realize how lucrative this opportunity was, my customer told me that they were going to retire. And I came up with this idea that I was going to get my work to purchase it. And I think that was right around the time that me and you started to work together. And we spent several sessions dedicated to clearing any blocks, just really looking at our mental approach
Mm-hmm.
and how we would go about all those things. and
Yeah.
and it was just one of those opportunities that sometimes you hear about, and it may not come to fruition, but I mean it worked out perfectly, exactly like I saw it in my head. And I feel that working with you was a critical piece of that. Anytime that we would come across some challenges, we were able to work through those and obtain that guidance to kind of navigate the different personalities, because there was
Yeah.
it was really bringing a lot of key people together, and being able to navigate those personalities, and so we could all achieve our common goal. And we certainly did that. We acquired that company in May of 2021. And in transportation, it really, the results of that project, I think it lasted about 3 years. I heard time and time again, people said that they've never seen anything like it. Even the owners of my company, were telling me that they couldn't even really necessarily give me advice, because they had never seen anything like this before. So it was um it was tremendous. There was a lot of struggles, and me and you talked quite a bit, through, as we acquired it, as we
Yeah.
were establishing the business, a lot of the challenges that we had as we were training the staff. And a lot of days where there wasn't a lot of sleep, and I was worn thin. And definitely I can look back and see, anytime that I was struggling, it would seem like almost like the world was crashing down around me. And then we would have a session, and within a half hour after the session, it just seemed like everything had shifted. and
Yeah.
and i and I can see how detrimental those sessions were for working through those critical situations, navigating,
Yeah.
personalities when people weren't getting along, extreme stress. And I attribute, I'd say, a high percentage of that of working with you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's just,
thank you. Yeah, we I don't like to say that, but I'm gonna say it. Uh, we made magic. Like we made the impossible possible. Like you had it in your head, and we cleared out energies and shifted stuff and aligned you to receive what you had in your head, and even to receive even better than what you have in your head, right?
oh, absolutely. I mean, and even like in work, especially in stressful environments, when you have a lot of things operating at a high level, high volume, high communication, you can have conflicting personalities, and that can really put a stop to your progress. And I remember, I would have my partner where we wouldn't talk really for like 6 months, and then we would have a session, and then the very next day, we would have like this laughing conversation from the time I got into lunchtime, and then it would take me about 4 or 5 days to realize that that's something that we addressed in our session, and I could clearly see how things would instantly shift.
Yeah.
Even when we got to the point to where I realized that I no longer wanted to, because I was always raised that you had to work, from sun up to sundown. And then you introduced me into the concept of working easy rather than working hard. And that's something that I had never quite heard before. And I think as soon as we had adopted that concept and dedicated one of our sessions to that, within a week, my boss came to me and suggested that we hire more people so I have more time to myself, because they didn't want me to get burnt out. So it was this, within 7 days time, everything around me shifted to support what we wanted, what we were attempting to manifest. And lo and behold, I'm now in full management, where I rarely do the operational daily task. Everything's been delegated, and really I don't have to work at that degree anymore. And the moment that it shifted was just when me and you talked about it, and it's been different ever since. And that was probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And so
And it has improved and improved. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the impact you have on all these people has increased drastically.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can clearly see now, by freeing myself up from those day-to-day tasks, I'm able to use my mindset and my experience to oversee the entire operation, and to fix those little things that I was so distracted from, in the past. So
Yeah.
it's actually greatly benefited my career by being able to step away and have that different mentality that you helped me realize.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think it goes beyond mentality though, and mindset. I think, and I want to get your feel on that. I think we are really shifting energy. Like you're shifting, your identity is evolving and changing and growing and expanding. Like it's way beyond mindset. Can you say a word about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, you got to be able to have the willingness to put in the work to achieve the goals that you want. It definitely, you got to be driven. You got to be able to have a vision, and that's definitely something that, working with you, I'm able to clear out a lot of the things that inhibit my ability to have that vision.
Mm.
And definitely has opened up my heart in a way to where I can, a lot of the inner work that we've done has allowed me to lead and manage from a place of authenticity, versus facing situations where I allow old things to kind of cloud my decisions and the way that I interact with people. And by removing a lot of these things that I've struggled with the majority of my life, it has greatly enhanced my career to where I can truly make that impact that I want with the people that I work with. And now my goal when I started out and I set out on all this was to make as much money as possible, and that was kind of really just the blanket goal. And now I feel like it's shifted to where, obviously, I mean, we're all striving to become more financially secure, but now I can truly focus on what really brings I really am passionate about, and as that's making a positive difference in the world, and just seeing a smile on people's face, knowing that they get to come to work and enjoy the people they work with, and know that they're supported, and when they go home, they get to enjoy their life. That's something I find true joy in, and um, just working with you has allowed me to reach this point.
That's
So
beautiful. That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. So can we talk about your side hustle? I like to call that side hustle on purpose because I mean it's bringing a I mean it's a very nice company on the side that you created. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So in 2019, we started a warehouse at the company that I manage, and during the pandemic, we just with the rise in transportation costs, I saw a need to, or an opportunity to start my own trucking company, which I had when I was younger and failed at. And so it was always a goal of mine to revisit that and to be able to be successful in that, and kind of jump over that failure, because sometimes failures hold us back. So in 2000, what was it, 2021, October 2021, I bought a couple box trucks, started that as just kind of a side business, and really just didn't go back into the old, like, I'm going to work myself to the bone. So like I just started this, and it was really just kind of this auxiliary business that was going to run. And the way I set it up was so it would just work in flow with what I already did. So it didn't feel like anything additional. And I think our first year, without even trying, I mean, there were days that I would pull into the yard and would see the trucks and would actually forget that I had it going. And then our first year, we did 400,000 gross revenue, and that was truly without trying. And I saw an opportunity that I didn't really set out to build this into what it's going to end up becoming, but we changed our vision, and at the beginning of 2023, we doubled our fleet, and now we're set to be about 700,000 gross in year two. And
Wow.
that's with massive expenses, as we expanded. But now we're gonna be hitting the seven figures next year, and going to be
That's awesome.
expanding into warehousing. And now I have a clear vision of basically a corporation that we're going to create and become a leading final mile delivery warehousing company in the Pacific Northwest. And now I'm even starting to see visions of having multiple terminals across the United States, and I'll just be a CEO at the top. But the cool thing is it's not monetarily driven.
Yeah.
Primary thing that drives me is the culture that we're going to create. Just I find true value in being able to close my eyes and envision a company where you see a lot of smiling faces, people that enjoy coming to work. And I feel like when people are motivated that way, and they feel like it's a community that they get to contribute to, that everybody will be willing to devote their time and effort to building something extremely special.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. That's what I see with the business owners that I work with, the entrepreneurs I work with, is they create really an aligned culture that is really vibrating and making a lot of people happy in the midst of that. So of course there is business and there is work, but everybody's happy to come and work for them and to serve the cause or the purpose of the company. And this is amazing. And I think it's even more amazing in your case that you're doing that on the side, having a full-time job that is an important job. So it's just like, it is beautiful that to see that when we are aligned and when we have a vision and we're really clearing out the blocks that are, and the distractions and the whatever is going in your own way. And when you're stepping out of your own way, how you can allow things like that to happen. Like I'm amazed by your results.
Thank you.
So
Really,
tell us a little bit more about the Three Freedom Academy as well, because I think it's an important fun program for people. And whether they have a business or not,
Mhm.
but they want to create that emotional freedom, financial freedom, and time freedom in their life. Tell us what's your experience of it, what you got from it, basically, because you've been through that for a year.
Well, we started the year-long program. I believe it was probably about this time last year. I think we're
Yeah.
coming up
About, yeah.
here. And that was right around the time that we had started to shift into the inner work because, I was always monetarily driven and career driven in the stuff that we were working on. And I found myself at this odd spot where I was 36 years old and I had accomplished really a lot of most of the goals that I had set out to accomplish by the time I ended my career and stopped work in retirement. I achieved it very quickly and um made a couple $1 million, and I was starting to realize that how empty I felt, how shockingly unfulfilled I was. and and I had this realization that maybe this isn't what I was really looking for. And I started to really realize that there was a lot of things inside myself that I had buried for a long time. And I'd reached this point where I was ready to do that work because I was kind of having these realizations that, achieving everything, all my goals, I felt more empty than I had ever been. So I just had this calling to start doing this work. And we started doing the freedom class, and I really understood that as I started to do this work, and which is, it's difficult. It takes a lot of bravery and courage to start looking at things that you've ran from your entire life. And um, through this 12-month course, I've been able to start to let go of these things, let go of all the worry and anxiety and all these things that would always hold me back from acknowledging what I've been able to accomplish, allowing myself to love myself. I was always looking for outside sources of fulfillment, and by doing this work, I now feel completely fulfilled just being myself. And I'm starting to realize that all of these things that I thought were going to make me complete, like a house on 5 acres, a business, all these things, those things are important, but those aren't critical to my happiness. And I've realized that the things that fulfill me are loving my wife, great relationship with my son, the relationships that I have over the amount of money that's in my bank account. And I've completely shifted my values, and I feel free for the first time in my life. I feel weightless in a sense, that I'm not anchored down by all of these things that have robbed me from my happiness. And I attribute all of that to working with you. I can see how detrimental it was for my relationship with my wife, how much we've grown together, how much she's changed working with you, which is a whole nother story, but just how much our relationship has blossomed and flourished. And I mean, I'm going to get into that here in a second, but the business world has completely shifted, and I find myself at a place now where I don't even stress about money anymore, because I don't even believe that I can do whatever I want. I know it. And I have this knowing that's always going to be there for me. And it's just, yeah, I feel within 12 months, I've completely transformed inside and out. And it's, I'd say 95% of working with you and all of the concepts that you introduced and that supreme neutrality that you teach, just being able to adopt those concepts. You're able to step outside yourself and have that awareness of what's going on around you. And it allows you to make better decisions, not operating from a place of trigger, but you can kind of see all of the things going on, and it definitely helps you make better decisions in life.
Wow. Wow. Cool. Nice. What else do you want to tell us? Anything that could help people maybe that are on the fence, that say, well, maybe that's good for him, but that, that I don't know for me. It may not work for me or something. What else can you say?
Well, I mean, on top of the career advancements and all the success that we've been able to achieve, my relationship was, with my wife, we've definitely, my best friend, and we've been together almost 14 years. But intimacy was something that we had always kind of been mismatched on. And working with you, we've been able to identify a lot of the things that actually were going on, things that bothered me, what I would perceive as something on the outside. You were able to help me realize that all of these things were really things that were broken inside of me. And instead of seeking things from the outside, by loving myself and to find the answers within, the relationship in my lives have shifted because I no longer place those expectations. I don't need her to do certain things so I feel happy. And I now see, by operating at that from that place, you're going to have unhealthy things happen in relationships. I now understand that expectations is just, I forgot the phrase for it, but basically just anytime that you live your life with expectations, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because
Yeah.
you have your idea of how it's supposed to work out, and then if it doesn't work out that way, you're setting yourself up for being upset. So I just living in that supreme presence, being neutral, those things, and then just working through all of the stuff that I've repressed since I was a kid. The wounded child, I think that was our biggest, that I think that was the theme the last 6 months, is really understanding that a lot of the things that I've struggled with in life stem from wounds that I had, emotional wounds as a child. And I think for a long time as a man, I was always wanting, and I never wanted to acknowledge or say I had a bad childhood because I didn't want to feel like I was being a victim.
Mhm.
But I feel like looking at it now, I definitely need those things need acknowledgement, because, as a child, sometimes things happen to us and we're not mature enough or old enough to process. And a lot of times, sometimes we get stuck in those emotional states. So when we face those same triggers as we get older, we're reacting from that same place. And by doing this inner work, you heal those wounds, and then it allows you to actually be the authentic person that you are. And just that work alone, I'd say, on top of, out of everything, that is the most impactful work that we've done together. All the money aside, everything, I would trade it all to do the inner work. I would much rather be broke and be healed inside than rich and miserable.
Yeah.
And that's one thing
Isn't
that
it, and isn't it wonderful that you don't have to choose from one to or the other, and that you can co-create everything?
I'll take it all. Absolutely.
Because that's what it is, right? We don't have to choose. We can have that. You can have, and you certainly did have the wonderful, promotions in your job, and creating, and money, and creating another business of your own, and increased your relationship and improve your relationship with your wife and with a lot of people around. And wow, you name it. And improved your relationship with yourself, like discovered who you truly are,
Absolutely.
and how awesome and how beautiful and how magical you are. Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Eric.
You're welcome.
It's a privilege and an honor to work with you, and I just want to celebrate that. It's just beautiful. The divine partnership we have together is amazing.
Absolutely, Natalie. I want to take the time to thank you. I know I try to say it as much as possible and express my gratitude, but the differences that you've made in my family's life, even in the people that are in my immediate family, Amanda's immediate family, I see the impact that the work that we've done with you, how that's affected us and how we have changed and how we affect the people around us. And it's just a ripple effect across the board. And it's so dependent on the work that we've done with you. So thank you so much. You make such a great impact in the world. And the philosophies and the principles that you teach is just invaluable.
Thank you. Thanks. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Natalie.